Hello everybody, it's that time of the week again. One Piece anime episode review. Now, this week's episode for the first part was kind of boring. The Coliseum fighters get into the first level and, doing a bunch of basic or climbing up and taking out a bunch of fodder, Luffy taking out a bunch of fodder. It wasn't that interesting. The main thing that was really interesting about this episode was the parts with Sabo, because Sabo's badass as shit. But what leads into that is the fact that the Don Quixote family members are like, well, how come how are all these Coliseum fighters getting up here? I mean, the Marines should be taking care of them. How are they getting through? Well, that's because Sabo is blocking the Marines' way. Like the fact that this one man, Sabo, is blocking all those Marines, which include many high-level ranking officers, including a vice admiral and an admiral. So that tells you a lot about Sabo. The vice admiral Bastille tries to warn his men to back off, and unfortunately they don't listen, and they attack him, and Sabo just destroys them. He then goes to take him on by himself, and Sabo pretty much punks him. Like Bastille's just no match for Sabo, and Sabo even goes as far as to break his famous sword, and when he does so, he has this most evil look in his eye, which is awesome because Sabo is bad at. Like I said, you can't say enough good things about Sabo. He's just awesome, and he even goes as far as to crush Bastille's face. He would have destroyed his entire head if Fujitora hadn't called down a meteorite to attack Sabo. Unfortunately, he forgot about the fact that the birdcage was still there, and it cut the meteorite into pieces, which unfortunately caused the area of effect to become wider than expected and causing much more damage than he intended. Sabo then just walks out of the fire of the meteorite and says, having defeated Bastille already, and basically jumps up into Fujitora tries to put gravity on him, Sabo, but Sabo just powers up his fire, propels himself into the air, and then proceeds to dive down. And even though this episode is referred to as Sabo versus Fujitora, they don't this. It wasn't until the final moment of the episode that they clash. Overall, this episode was okay. It would have been better, but I mean, okay, it was a good episode because of Sabo. Simply put, if the beginning part would have been better, it probably could have been a great. But can't win them all. As for the preview for next week's episode, it looks okay. I mean, it's it's just disheartening that it doesn't look from the preview. It doesn't look like next week's episode is going to have any scenes from this fight of Sabo versus Fujitora, which is unfortunate because in the manga, it's unfortunate they didn't show much of this fight, and as we're hoping that the anime, since it's trying to stretch things out so it doesn't catch up to the manga, you would think they would want to stretch this fight out, but the fight just started, so maybe we might get lucky and get an entire filler episode of Sabo and Fujitora fighting, or an episode that has one small thing happen that's canon, and then the rest is like Sabo versus Fujitora, because that would be awesome. This also was the episode that debuted a new One Piece opening, which surprised me in one aspect because I'm like, and the fact that obviously I knew that last week it was already said that there were going to be a new opening this week, but the problem is that the opening itself it's odd because you know, in this series of episodes, I figured Shining, the Wake Up was going to be the opening until the end of the Dressrosa arc, because they had, usually that's the case. Is for most One Piece, well, at least for the post time skip arcs, they've been doing one opening per arc. They had one opening. We Go was Fishman Island's opening. Hands Up was Punk Hazard's, and Wake Up was going to be Dressrosa's. I guess they figured since this arc is super super long, like this arc, just to get you a feel, since episode 686 was the last episode of Wake Up's, being an opening. The first episode it premiered was, of course, with episode 629. So that's almost an entire, it's almost 60 episodes. It's nearly 60 episodes of, Wake Up being the opening. And figuring the fact that this arc isn't even done in the manga yet, as of the recording of this video, that basically tells you one thing: that there's going to be many more episodes to come, and because of that, it means that they felt the need, because We Go went on for it seemed to drag on forever, especially since they used it for especially since it was used for, even went into a little bit of the Dressrosa arc, or not Dressrosa arc, the Punk Hazard arc, because We Go started with episode 517, and it went up to episode 590, which was about almost 80 that's almost 80 episodes, or more like almost 85. That's almost 75. That's almost 75 episodes of worth of having We Go. So they didn't want. They made the executive decision to say, hey, look, we don't. If this arc's probably going to be close to 100 episodes, if not most likely more than 100 episodes. This arc, which is because this arc's been dragging on for way too long. So they just made the right decision and decided to not have the Wake Up go on. I mean, I love Wake Up probably more than this new opening. Most definitely, probably more than this new opening. However, and probably wouldn't mind going on, but I guess for the general public, it made more sense to do a new opening that's going to go on for 40 plus episodes. They may or may not change some of the visuals. Somewhat, always do that, or they might even go for this arc might be long enough where they might do a third opening for the end of the arc. Who knows? But it's definitely going to, because it's not. Wouldn't have been the first One Piece arc to have more than 2 openings. Because if I remember correctly, what was it? Enies Lobby had 4, I think. It had openings 6. No, it had 3. It had 6, 7, and 8. It had 3 openings. So it's definitely worth it. In my opinion, this opening, Hard Knock Days, originally, beginning, it wasn't, when I first saw it, I was like, I wasn't really that I honestly, upon first viewing it, I was like, I hated it. I hated the opening. I was like, why? It was just, I didn't like it. It was just so boring. But as one would state, or one would think, that, listening to an opening many times wouldn't really be beneficial to it. It would only serve you to hate it more. However, that's not the case. Whereas I am more, or should I say, after listening to it a couple of times, I got a chance to get used to the opening, because, when you go from an opening, one opening that you've been listening to for 60 plus episodes, it becomes better. You really enjoy, and especially if you really enjoy it, it's kind of hard to really adjust to the idea of using or having the same opening, or to adjust to the new opening, especially if it's not like, because this one, yes, is very positive and upbeat, but it's definitely more soft overall, softer overall when compared to the previous opening of Wake Up. It's not as in your face. So, but after listening to it, the song is very catchy, very enjoyable. Definitely not going to be, One Piece I don't skip the One Piece openings, because not only because the songs are great, amazing, and the visuals are always entertaining. The visuals are amazing in this. Has a mostly non-spoilery stuff, but of course there's some spoilers. But that was to be expected. Some of the highlights being, the clash between Doflamingo and Luffy and Law. Also the badass marine walking scenes, because that's literally, in terms of Oda is known for many, many things, and out of all the things, and one of the Toei Animation has done shit with the pacing, and made the bad pacing of One Piece be even worse, as well as doing certain things, but they take things and enhance them. Except in the cases of how the art and animation isn't always consistent. However, when they animate Oda's content, they always take the things he does and amplifies them, meaning the slow pacing is made even slower. But the good positives of enhancing is when it comes to scenes such as backstory scenes and the the badass walking scenes, they are made even greater by the animation, because not only did they animate them very well, in my opinion, they also add amazing music. And in the opening, they have the really badass scene of Marines walking, and it's just great. So that, you got Sabo was also a good one, and I also really liked how, in the one point, they showed each of the Straw Hats doing a couple of their moves to kind of, hey, look, we're awesome too. Because unfortunately, if you are, anime only viewer, you might not necessarily know this, but I'm pretty sure many of the other anime reviewers, all the anime reviewers I've seen so far, have already spoiled this fact. But yeah, don't get your hopes up. The Straw Hats you haven't seen for many episodes aren't already, not meaning the ones that are on the Sunny, you're not gonna. We still haven't seen them back yet. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way Oda's been doing it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. And yes, I know I've been rambling on for way too long. So just enjoy yourselves and have a good week. And hope to see you guys next time.
Hey guys, it's me. I know you're not used to hearing me for One Piece episodes, but I did watch this one for two main reasons. The first one is for opening 18, and the other was for Sabo vs. Fujitora. and I guess I'll start with opening 18. Uh, I thought it was good. I liked the song, and the sequencing was pretty good. Probably my favorite part was when they were all showing off some moves. I think that was like in the latter half. You know, like when Luffy was doing, he did everything. Like he did Gear Second. I saw a Red Hawk. I saw a some kind of armament hockey. I think it was elephant something, elephant stamp or whatever. And then Zoro was going nuts, and then Sanji. Oh my gosh, Sanji. Um, so yeah, I thought overall the opening is pretty good. I'm sure it'll grow on me as it goes, as I listen to it more. Let's see. And the other event was Sabo versus Fujitora. I'm not going to do a full review because I'm sure Don's going to do most of that. I like to, if I do these reviews like for myself, I'm probably just going to cover the main events just as an add-on. And this time around, we had Sabo, and it wasn't much. It was about as much as what happened in the manga, between the two of them at least, which sucks to me because they drag the shit out of everything, but not this. But on the plus side, we did get some really good action from him. Even though it wasn't against Fujitora, it was against like Bastille and all the others. He's just so cool. I mean, his fighting style is awesome. That the Dragon Talon, Dragon Claw, it's awesome. And so, um, the fight between him and Bastille doesn't last long, and that is filler, except for the end, I think. Uh, yeah, like Bastille was pretty impressive in terms of DC with his cutting ability, but it's no match for Sabo. He crushes his sword and then crushes his mask, which was awesome. And I mean that's really it, because at the end, they start fighting, and but there were some good moments with Sabo, even though it was dragged out. Like there were some good like emotional moments about how he thought back to, we actually see his reaction to Ace's death and stuff like that, which I thought was really good because they didn't really do that. They didn't really do that in the manga much. They just kind of, I think they showed like a panel or two. But in the anime, they actually show him like crying out in agony, which is pretty realistic. I mean, that's what you would expect from him because they were brothers, even if not related, but they were like brothers. So yeah, I mean that's it for me. I thought the episode overall was good, even though obviously the pacing, but I thought it was good overall because Sabo. So yeah.